raise millions of dollars, Mr. Speaker. Second thing is, you don't have a real ability to opt out of this. In this circumstance, everything that Will said about the emancipatory power of violence is extremely important because it demonstrates that that can be challenged, right? Like, it demonstrates that you are capable of opting out of the system. The final thing on this is, like, we think that even the idea of meritocracy, which is what capitalism uses to justify itself, comes from essentially arbitrary factors. It comes from biology. It comes from the opportunities I have been subject to. It comes from being imbued with, like, my Protestant work ethic by my parents. We think there is no moral claim over any of those in that narrative. I have had no ability to opt in or out of that. We think in that circumstance, giving somebody a reward because of it is pernicious. More importantly, punishing somebody because of those arbitrary factors is even worse.
And the opposition today. Number one, they are crazy and we are sane. Number two, they had words and we had arguments. And number three, they have lost and we have right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, why have we won this debate, ladies and gentlemen? Why have they been inconsistent and incoherent and other words beginning with in, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to talk about two things. The first of which, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be this idea of the morality of equality, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the assumption on the proposition that the search for equality is based on acceptance that equality is itself a good. I want to talk about that. The second thing I'm going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is the idea of, like, the immorality of violent revolution as a concept when you're fighting for things and not for people. Before I do that, I want to have a little bit of a look at some of the stuff that Jack brought us, right? Last thing he said, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's wrong to punish people based on arbitrary factors. We agree, ladies and gentlemen. Why is the life of the man who was born into privilege, born into wealth, and the choices that he has made have been based, ladies and gentlemen, on that? Why is his life less valuable than the person who was born into poverty? We don't think it is, ladies and gentlemen. We certainly think they haven't shown us why. No, thank you. They told us, ladies and gentlemen, all moral claims come down to belief, so why not pick their one? We say, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got some analysis on our side, but our moral claims make sense. No, thank you. And then, ladies and gentlemen, they said that democracy is controlled by elites, and this is the way to opt out of that system. I say, ladies and gentlemen, opting out of the system by causing other people to opt out of life is illegitimate because of my first point. No, thank you. Actually, preliminary 3 points, okay? It's going to be this idea, right, of self-defense, right? Clever characterization in part, okay? This is just like self-defense, right? They're shooting me with a no-food bullet, therefore I have the right to kill them and eat them. Okay, right, interesting. We say, ladies and gentlemen, there is a distinction between certainty and uncertainty, ladies and gentlemen. We say that when someone has a gun to your head, you have a reasonably foreseeable certainty that they are going to shoot and kill you, and you have a right to self-preserve in that sense. We say, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that guns exist out there, and someone might have one, does not give you a right to have a violent revolution, probably with guns, to get rid of all the guns, okay? Because you don't know what's going to happen. If you are, no thank you, when you are starving, you don't know that you're going to die in that next second. You do know when you kill someone to eat them, they're definitely dead, okay? No thank you. So that's a distinction there. They said slavery destroys my humanity and my agency. Do you know what also does that? Being a dead person, okay? And your agency. So we say, no, it's not okay to kill to get out of being slaves. We also say, ladies and gentlemen, with your partner's analysis, right, that agency doesn't exist. If that's the case, what is the value difference between the master and the slave? Why is one of those states of being better than the other? And why, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, should you destroy we say, ladies and gentlemen, that the assumption on the proposition side is that equality is something that should be striven for. Equality is a good, therefore we should, look for it, because it would be good, okay? What's that based on? Okay, I asked her for information, okay, what she based her value of life on. And she said, ladies and gentlemen, because I believe that life is important for me, and therefore it's important for other people, and I should respect that. No, thank you. It's an acceptance that when it comes down to it, okay, people have worth. That worth is the same, okay? Something that should be valued, something that should be endorsed, and something that should be striven for, okay? For practically morally consistent, okay, I'll take on this in a minute, right? They have to, have attempts to achieve equality through means of simply would shift inequality around. That's all that they're doing with their proposition, okay? If you're distributing equals as a good, okay? No, thank you. It's arbitrary, right? It's based on some, earth shaped by your surroundings, right? Like a violent revolution that deprives people of capacity to choose, deprives them of capacity to change, because they're dead now, right? Deprives them of that. It's an ultimate non-recognition of the equality of humanity, because they have more stuff than me, so they're not worth as much. I think that's a problem. That's telling people that they're worthless, ladies and gentlemen, because they have a thing that I don't have, that their life is worth nothing, and that's a hard code.
If I have no food, no water, and no shelter, and this is a repeated occurrence, how much more certainty do you need before I can act in self-defense to save my life?
Yeah, okay, fine. Go out, shoot an individual guy and eat him. That's fine. That's not a violent revolution that causes other people to come wrapped in to your nonsense, okay? It's not an overthrow of regimes. It's not saying that an entire class of people, if it's an immediate situation, which we don't believe it is, if it's immediate, different, sit down. Okay? First proposition's case is right. This is gonna work, okay? It's gonna build a great state. It's a morally illegitimate state that is built on lies and deceit and is fundamentally evil, okay? It is rotting from the inside out. So we don't think it works on a fundamental moral level, right? Second proposition gives a list of countries that function and they're better than now, okay? We say it's moral to talk to people, to change minds, to redistribute that way, that's what we want. Immorality of violent revolution is a concept. No, thank you, okay? Mobs happen, Bryn wrote this. Mobs happen, riots happen, right? Systematic destruction of a state, raising up society to ashes, and rebuilding it in a glorious utopian republic, that doesn't just happen, okay? That's a thing that takes us, right? Someone or some group decides that things matter, right? That the people who have the things are the wrong people, okay? They're by definition not the wrong people, okay? They're not fighting for democracy here, okay? They're not fighting for the ability of people to decide about things in their lives, with value on people making decisions, right? They're not fighting about that. They're fighting about things and where they should be. Things as a good, not as an end in themselves, not as a means to get there, okay? The difference in terms of transfer of power versus transfer of control. So one is about things and one is about people and them living their lives. This can have no legitimacy. You can't kill people to change who benefits from a system, okay? They said that buying into a system means that you're culpable. I say that organising a revolution, ladies and gentlemen, having people go out and take up arms and kill people, ladies and gentlemen, not for other people, but for things and where they should be, is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. It is morally abhorrent and it is not legitimate. We beg to oppose.